Wonderful. Such an incredible honor to be here with this amazing group of people at this wonderful celebration for Trialogue of the 25th anniversary edition. And I think everybody in this room, I don't even think I know everyone in this room, has a burning passion for and commitment to our country, our beautiful South Africa, and an abiding and continuous desire to see equity, prosperity, safety, and opportunity for all who live in our country. And South Africa is a place where so many corporates do so many incredible things. And I think every one of you are from companies that you could write whole books about all the achievements you've had and the work that your company does. And that's rare by world standards, actually, what corporates do here in South Africa. So it's really a profound honor to be here to speak to this incredible group who work tirelessly day by day to achieve this vision for all in South Africa. And I just want to say being in this women's jail is very poignant for me, and it's very meaningful for me because kind of links back to my life story. And my father arrived in South Africa when he was 1 year old on a ship with his parents. They were escaping from Nazi persecution during the Second World War, just at the start. Came from a country called Latvia, and Jewish people were being sent to concentration camps, of course. And they managed to escape and got onto a boat which was coming to South Africa. They knew nothing about South Africa, and they just literally were running with their lives, and they didn't have time to take anything. And they arrived here with just the shirts on their backs, and they were so poor that they sent my father away, and he went to go live with a relative on the south coast near Margate. And he grew up there for the first 8 years of his life, and they didn't have money to bring him backwards and forwards. And my grandfather just used to sell little things here and there, door to door, trying to make ends meet. And my father came back to Johannesburg when he was 8 years old. It was the first time he really met his parents. He didn't remember them from obviously being 1 year old. That certainly had I'd say profoundly damaging effect on him, on the rest of his life, not growing up with that love of his parents. But nonetheless, it also led to an incredible strength in him and an amazing vision for making a difference to other people. So when we were all growing up, my father had put himself through Wits University, through medical school. He became a medical doctor. He ended up getting 7 degrees. He was obsessed with education. And he believed that the way out of poverty for his family was through education. And so he educated himself. He paid for now his brother and sister that he had met when he was 8. And he put them also through Wits. And they also all got great jobs. My uncle is a dentist. My aunt is an occupational therapist. But then my dad carried on, and he ended up starting his own private practice. He put his nurses' children through school, through university. We all went to private schools. But we slept on the floor. We had no money for anything. All the money went to education. And so it was a great time for me. I didn't know differently. And so me and my 3 older brothers slept in this tiny little room on these foam mattresses on the floor. But I saw what the work of my dad did to change our lives. And, all these more than 30 people that he paid for their education became very successful. So my oldest brother's got like 6 degrees, a medical doctor. He works in Treasury, he's chief director for the health budget. I won't go through all of them, but all 30 whatever are just all over the world, very successful. And I saw firsthand the power of education. But when we were young, growing up, I think because my dad had probably suffered so much, like growing up not knowing his parents and all of that, and he really hated apartheid. He ended up becoming the chair of the SRC when he was at Wits in medical school. And so when he was a young medical doctor, he started to come to the women's jail here and see the women who were in jail just because of their belief that South Africa had to change, and they'd been thrown into jail. So he helped people here like Albertina Sisulu, Winnie Mandela and others here, and in the women's jail in in Pretoria. So when we were very young, we used to just come on the south side of the jail here, like the streets there, and we would just be playing in the street, like playing soccer with my brothers. We didn't even know what my dad was doing. I had no understanding of politics or what was really going on in the country, and so on. So coming back to the jail is it's very meaningful and very memorable. And my dad did that every Thursday, every Saturday for years and years and years, using his own money and so on, coming to help women who had been thrown in jail for no reason other than the color of their skin. So yeah, so I grew up in this family of activists, and but I was I'd say the black sheep in the family. I just wanted to be rich growing up. I wanted to be a millionaire by the time I was 30, and that's all I used to think about. So when I was at Wits, and my family were very embarrassed about me, you know, that I wasn't an anti-apartheid activist, and that I wasn't fighting with the police at Wits and all of that. We all went to Wits, and my brother, just older than me, was organizing, you know, all these like marches, and the police were coming and tear gassing, and, you know, and then my oldest brother had to like stay away from home, and the police would come looking for him. And then I was like selling jewelry to the people running away from the police. I was trying to make as much money as I could, doing actuarial science part-time, and trying to make money the rest of the time at Wits. And so anyway, apartheid ended, and 1994, so Trialogue's was really born, I think, in the New South Africa, 1997. Yeah, and then in 1994, 1995, so many people started leaving. It was the New South Africa. I also started to think of leaving, and I was about to go to the States, packed up everything. By now I was an actuary, and yeah, I was earning a lot of money in those days. And yeah, and then 2 weeks before leaving the country, I ended up staying up all night one night and had this real epiphany that I wanted to stay in the country and make a difference to other young people. And it was a complete change. At that time, I was earning like 1.3 million rand. I was 27 years old. I'd been traveling all over the world. And now all of a sudden, I decided to go into Alex, and I spent 4.5 years in Alex Township and Soweto every day, and then Davyton, and so on, and started getting involved in nonprofit work, which I've now done for just as long as Mandela was in jail. So 27 years, and am now 55. So I've been really part of the same time as this journey that Trialogue has been growing up as a company. And I just want to really congratulate Trialogue for their work. And I think what Kathy was saying, that Vanessa was saying in the early days of CSI, it was so unorganized, etc. But I think for all these 25 years, they've been reminding corporates of what's important, our role in society, that we're not just here to make money as companies, but also here to serve. And really, I mean, we know the old saying from the Bible, to whom much has been given, much is expected. And it is incredible to see how corporate South Africa really does make such a massive difference in so many areas in South Africa. Having come through this pandemic now, of course, there's just deepening inequality and inequity. There's growing uncertainty for so many millions in this country, water supply issues, electricity supply issues. Every day, I mean, just the load shedding, it just goes on and on and on, almost seeming like it will never end. Food supply issues, etc., ongoing corruption, and growing organized crime, etc. And so none of this makes it easy. And so really, I mean, all of us have our work cut out. There's no question about that. And we really all have to redouble our efforts. We've got to quadruple our efforts to change and create the beautiful dream that we all have for South Africa. And that means we all have to love more. We all have to give more. We all have to care more. We have to think more. And we have to be obsessed more with solving these problems and really getting to the root causes and finding innovative solutions. But the positive side of this is that there isn't a single problem, I believe, in South Africa that doesn't have a solution. So, I mean, we look at this load shedding thing, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, we have so much sunshine in South Africa and so much wind in places like the Eastern Cape. we should have like double the power, triple the power than we all need if we just organize things. There's no question. And so if we take starvation, I mean, isn't it crazy 14 million people go to Hungary every night? How big is our country? How much land is available? I mean, in Israel, they'll just farm in the desert. I mean, we look at what Dubai has done, creating an entire city in the middle of a desert. We have unlimited opportunity in South Africa to change our problems. So I think all of us are here because we know we shouldn't be mired in problems, and problems are not really, they're real, but they're not really real. I mean, if we really use our intelligence and collectively work together, there isn't a single one of these problems, not poverty or unemployment or inequality or corruption or load shedding or water shedding or food insecurity, any of them, name them all of them are fixable if we use our intelligence and work together. And doing work like this is not just because we want to do it, that it's a feel-good factor. I think we have to do it. And just like the earth has to go around the sun and the moon goes around the earth, as humans, we have to make life better and evolve and make life better for all. And I just want to read a quote from one of our teachers that she wrote this a few years ago, and it means a lot to me. And she says, life is better when you are happy, but life is at its best when others are happy because of you. Be faithful in touching others' hearts, be an inspiration. Nothing in nature lives for itself. Rivers do not drink their own water. Trees do not eat their own fruits. The sun does not shine for itself. Flowers do not spread their fragrance for themselves. Living for others is a rule of nature. We were all born to help each other. So no matter how difficult the situation you find yourself in, still do good to others. And I think when we started our nonprofit, we started first as CEDA, and then the Maharishi Invincibility Institute started in 2007. And I knew nothing about the nonprofit sector. All I knew was making things, selling things. I was an actuary, I was a management consultant, etc. So going into Alex, I didn't really know how I could be helpful to anybody. And so it was a big learning curve with lots of mistakes in the beginning. But I think one of the things that's allowed us to build the first free university in South Africa and then build a number of these institutions. Now I'm very happy to say, we're in actually now 11 locations. We're just going to be opening up in Zambia as well. So we're in 4 countries. But all of this has been possible through shared value and finding ways that we can do things through what we do, which is to help educate young unemployed people and get them into the economy in good jobs. By finding ways that could be of use to companies. So how could that be of use to companies? Well, it could be of use because companies need to employ these people. So I'll give one wonderful example of shared value. And Kathy was showing ABSA as one of these 20-year sponsors. Is anyone from ABSA here in the room? Not. I think they're all tired from working so hard with us. But yeah, so just to say with ABSA, for example, ABSA being a bank, cybersecurity, we know hacking is one of the biggest problems facing business in the world today. And ABSA needs these cybersecurity skills, and they're not easy to find. So we've created an academy together. There's 70 students who've started in that program. But we're taking unemployed, largely marginalized women who've really never really touched a computer, and we're training them up to become top-end cybersecurity specialists. And when we first started this, we did a test with ABSA of all the students, a psychometric test. And ABSA said, unless these students get 5, like a composite score of 5 or above, none of them will be able to make it through these 17 certifications that they need to do. Most of them are global. 13 of them are global. The top score our students got was 3.1. So when we got that and ABSA saw these scores, they were just like, okay, this is never going to work. We had a team huddle and they said, look, they're really sorry, but we're going to have to close down this program because the students are never going to make it. It's unfortunate. It was a good dream, but they'll have to come up with another plan. And I said, please, can we just let them write the first exam? And if it's a bloodbath, let's can the program and we can shut it down. And anyway, suffice it to say, we did write the first exam. We had 100% pass rate. We wrote the second exam. We had 100% pass rate. And then since then, over this 3-year period, our students have not just passed every exam, and pretty much all of them first time. We've had about 4 or 5 exams, like with Amazon Web Services, etc., where the students didn't just pass, they got 100%. So for example, half the students got 100% out of 100 for some of the Amazon exams. So this is just, it's so exciting, because here were young women who were just unemployed, doing nothing with their lives, many of them with their own little kids. And on graduation day, which was about 2 months ago, ABSA gave every single one of these first 20 students an offer of employment. And when on their graduation, and when we looked at the salary, I mean, I was like, what? This is unbelievable. Like every single one of those students on their day of graduation is earning more than any staff member at MI, myself included as the CEO, Nano, Comsilla, etc. And so that is so exciting, but that's shared value. ABSA would not be paying that money for these individuals if they could not add a great deal of value to their company. Another example with Bright, they're just down the road from us in the CBD. See how we're doing for time. And Bright have pledged to employ 1,000 of our graduates. So we're taking 1,000 unemployed people, training them up. They've already taken over 200 and employed them. But again, it's a wonderful example of shared value. Bright wants to expand in the communities, the insurance products, and we want to help unemployed youth get into jobs. So what have we learned? Our people have the potential, the drive, the commitment to achieve any extraordinary feats in education if they get the opportunity. And we know that talent is distributed, but opportunity is not. And I think that that's what many of us work on. There's never been a time where it's more important to act on these issues, because I think unimaginable things are coming in the next 25 years. I mean, if we think of the last 25 years, how much change there's been in the world, it's unbelievable. And now we think of the next 25 years, what's there going to be? There's going to be humanoids that are much smarter than people, that walk, talk like a human being, and they'll be often maybe even almost unrecognizable, but they'll have like an IQ, like, they reckon that by 2027, there'll be absolute parity of artificial intelligence and human brain. Already no human being in the world can beat computers now in chess, in Go, in pretty much almost any game now of intelligence. We can't beat technology anymore. But by 2045, they reckon that artificial intelligence will be 1 billion times more intelligent than even the smartest human beings. So, that's humanoids, artificial intelligence. We'll have self-driving cars for sure. We'll have flying cars. And what will happen to average people? And I often think this country's already disrupted. It's not like we have to wait for the disruption that all this like technology is coming and then we're going to be disrupted. We're already disrupted with all of our electricity stuff and water and food and everything else. So what is going to happen as this escalation in technology just truly is going exponential? And that's why I think the work of all of us it's absolutely essential. And it isn't a luxury and it isn't a nice thing to do. We have to do it. And we have to be so committed to finding what I call the secret sauce in things. We have to go to the root cause. We have to find things that truly work, and we've got to be very open-minded, and it's hard to be open-minded often, and often we'll come at something with a very, very surface solution. People are hungry, we'll just give them food, and now they're not going to be hungry, but they won't be hungry for a day, and that's an obvious example of a superficial solution. But I think in every single area, we really, really have to go deep and find how to bring change in these issues. So just a few more points in conclusion, and also to talk about Trialogue and our partnership with Trialogue. Firstly, it is necessary to want to do good, and I always feel that it doesn't matter why we all want to do good, for whatever reason. Even if it's your job to do good, you work in a company and you're fortunate enough to have a job to do good. That's incredible, and that gives the basic momentum But then what's very important is the direction that that good takes, and to make sure that we achieve maximum impact. And, you know, I think we see many, many examples in South Africa. So I'm a personal, passionate advocate of BBBEE. I think BBBEE is just the most incredible legislation of almost anywhere in the world if it's done right. And yet we see some companies just literally throwing money away in the name of BBBEE just to get points, when every cent is so precious, could be used to absolutely change the country. So that's when I say it's good to want to do good, that's essential, but to point that good in the right direction, so we maximize impact, that every rand earns 100 rand and every rand earns 1,000 rand. That's what we need to be thinking about all the time. We have to be obsessed with impact to make the change that we want. So it's incredibly special for us to be here with Trialogue, Kathy and Nick and the team. And I'm so happy to see Lurato here as one of our graduates working for Trialogue. And I saw Samuel, another one of our graduates here. So it's just very, very exciting to see what Trialogue has done for all these 25 years. We've been your partner for 16 years. And just seeing how the business and the organization has changed and grown, and how much you've helped us on that journey, introducing us to companies, helping us with so many projects and initiatives, employing students. It's a long, long list. On our side, our dream is to take the Johannesburg CBD that everybody is running away from. Business after business after business is leaving the CBD. And we want to turn that into an education city for all the millions and millions of people living in Soweto, Orange Farm, Katlehong, Vosloorus, Daveyton, Beckersdale, Sebokeng, all these millions of youth that are unemployed, that have to travel through the city to come to this promised land in the north, like Rosebank and Sandton and Midrand and Woodmead and all these places where the jobs are, and hope to be that connecting point. So please watch over the next 25 years what happens in the CBD. It is not going to go down. That is my prediction. It is going to go the absolute opposite of down that everybody's predicting. It's going to go right up and become a beacon of hope in the whole world. So that's what we're going to be working on over the next 25 years, and a couple of other things. So just in conclusion, just a deep thanks to everybody that's here for the work that you do, that your companies do, that your organizations do. Tracy, that I used to work with, the beautiful work you do in Ray of Hope. The gentleman I just met who's working with street people here and has just started up here in Johannesburg from Cape Town. Is it John? Yeah. Just the wonderful things that everybody's doing, each of our dreams to create the South Africa that we all long for everybody. And just nothing is more powerful than our human spirit, and that's true. And I often say the one thing that Eskom cannot put out is our human spirit. You know, thankfully we don't work on electricity, and even when the power goes out, we can still get up in the morning and brush our teeth in the dark and go to bed in the dark, and all of that. It's actually quite peaceful when it does happen. It gives us lots of time for thinking. And so on. But the human spirit, that's the greatest thing. And just to remember that every single one of these problems it's absolutely fixable. I mean, there's nothing we have to cry about. I don't even read the newspaper or anything else. There's just nothing to cry about. Let's just get out there and fix it and be smart and deal with the root causes and come up with sustainable solutions, because they're all there, and find those great things that work and scale them up, and that's it. We will live in a heavenly country. And just in the words of Martin Luther King, he said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. And so I think it behoves all of us to love more, to bring more light, to bring more goodness to all the people around us, our families, our friends, our companies, our organizations. And doesn't matter how high the mountain seems, we are definitely going to get there. Let's change the game. Let's do it together, link our hands and our arms and our hearts, and change South Africa. Thank you very much, and all the best over the next 25 years.